Hi, I'm Willa. People always told me having a baby would be one of the most special moments of my life, but they never mentioned how quickly that moment could be ruined by someone you thought you could trust. I gripped the kitchen counter as another contraction hit, my knuckles turning white. Mark, my husband, rushed to my side, his face etched with worry. "That's the third one in 20 minutes, he said, checking his watch. "Should we call Dr. Reynolds?" "Not yet," I breathed through the pain. "They're still too far apart." The doorbell rang, cutting me off. Mark frowned. "Who could that be? We're not expecting anyone." "It's probably just a package," I said, straightening up as the contraction eased. "Go check while I finish packing my hospital bag." I heard the door open, followed by a chorus of excited voices. Confused, I waddled toward the commotion. "Surprise!" shouted at least 15 people crowded into our entryway. At the front stood Cassandra, my sister-in-law, beaming with pride, a baby party banner in her hands. "What is this?" I asked, my voice barely audible over the chatter. Cassandra rushed forward, her designer heels clicking against our hardwood floors. "It's your birth celebration. I invited everyone to witness little Emma's big arrival." "Emma?" I frowned. "We haven't even decided on a name yet." "Oh, Mark told me you were considering it, and it's perfect. Don't you think everyone?" The crowd murmured in agreement while Mark looked as shocked as I felt. "Cass," Mark started. "Willa's having contractions. This isn't a good time." "Exactly." Cassandra clapped her hands. "That's why I brought everyone now. We can all be part of this magical journey together. I even hired a videographer. Tyler, come meet the mommy-to-be." A man with a professional camera stepped forward, lens pointed directly at me. "No," I said firmly. "No cameras, no party. I'm in labor, Cassandra." "That's the whole point," she laughed, waving her hand dismissively. "Everyone, help yourselves to refreshments in the kitchen. I brought champagne for after the big moment." My childhood friend Riley pushed through the crowd, her nurse's uniform still on from her shift. "What's happening? I got a text saying Willa was in labor and having a party?" "I am not having a party," I said through gritted teeth as another contraction began. Riley immediately assessed the situation and pulled me aside. "How far apart are they?" "About 7 minutes now," I whispered, leaning against the wall. "Riley, I don't want all these people here." "Of course you don't," she said quietly. "This is insane. Did you know about this?" "Absolutely not." "Willa." Cassandra appeared with a stranger. "This is my friend Bethany. She's a doula and wants to help with your birth experience." Riley stepped between us. "Excuse me, but Willa needs privacy right now." "Oh, please." Cassandra rolled her eyes. "Birth is a community experience. In many cultures—" "In this culture," Riley interrupted, "the mother decides who's present during her labor." Mark finally managed to reach us, looking overwhelmed. "Cass, you need to ask people to leave." "But I already posted it on Instagram," Cassandra protested. "Everyone's following the hashtag #WillisWaterBreak." I froze, another contraction forgotten. "You did what?" "It's already got over 100 likes. People are so invested in your journey." That's when I felt it, a warm rush down my legs. Everyone went silent as they realized what had happened. "Oh my God, her water just broke," someone shouted. Cassandra squealed with delight. "Tyler, get that on camera." 3 days later, I sat in our living room nursing Emma, still seething about Cassandra's birth party. My phone buzzed with another notification, more comments on the unauthorized birth photos Cassandra had posted. "I can't believe she's still sharing these." I showed Mark my phone. "She tagged us in pictures of me in active labor." Mark ran his hand through his hair. "I've asked her 3 times to take them down." "Asking isn't enough anymore," I said, adjusting Emma in my arms. "This wasn't just inconsiderate, Mark. It was a violation." The doorbell rang, and Riley walked in with a folder tucked under her arm. "How's the new mama?" she asked, bending down to kiss Emma's forehead. "And my favorite little girl who had the most ridiculous welcome party ever?" "Still processing," I admitted. "Did you bring what I asked for?" Riley nodded, sitting beside me. Hospital privacy forms, documentation of who was present during admission, and a statement from me as a medical professional about what I witnessed. Mark frowned. What's all this for? I'm building a case, I explained. Cassandra violated our privacy in one of our most vulnerable moments. She posted intimate medical details and photos online without consent. You're not seriously thinking of taking legal action against my sister? Mark's voice rose slightly. What would you suggest? I countered. Because asking her nicely hasn't worked. The doorbell rang again. This time it was Dr. Reynolds, my OB-GYN, still in her scrubs. I came as soon as my shift ended, she said. Riley filled me in. How are you holding up? Physically, I'm recovering. Emotionally? I trailed off. I've brought my incident report, Dr. Reynolds said, pulling out documents. What happened was a serious breach of medical privacy. There were people filming and photographing a medical event without your consent. Mark paced the room. Can't we handle this within the family? Cass just got carried away with excitement. Carried away? Riley raised an eyebrow. Mark, she created a hashtag of your wife's bodily functions and invited strangers to witness them. That's not excitement. That's exploitation. She always needs to be the center of attention, I said quietly. Even during our wedding, she announced her promotion during our first dance. That was different, Mark argued. Was it? I challenged. Because it seems like a pattern to me. The doorbell rang a third time. Mark's parents, Robert and Diana, walked in, faces tense. We need to talk about Cassandra, Diana began without preamble. She called us crying about how you're threatening to sue her. We haven't threatened anything yet, I clarified. We've simply asked her to remove the photos and posts about my labor. Robert shook his head. You know how she is, always sharing everything online. She didn't mean any harm. Intent doesn't erase impact, Dr. Reynolds interjected. As a medical professional, I'm obligated to inform you that what happened could constitute a HIPAA violation since I was Willa's physician and people were recording medical procedures. She brought a videographer into my delivery room? I exclaimed. After the hospital staff explicitly removed him, she snuck him back in disguised as her cousin? Diana paled. She didn't tell us that part. Of course she didn't, I said. Just like she didn't tell you she's selling exclusive birth story updates to her followers through her lifestyle blog. She's what? Mark looked stunned. Riley pulled up the website on her phone and showed everyone. There it was. A paid subscription option for Auntie Cassandra's birth journey experience $9.99 month. She's monetizing my childbirth, I whispered, holding Emma closer. The following week, Cassandra finally agreed to meet after my lawyer sent her a formal cease and desist letter. We sat across from each other at a quiet cafe, Emma sleeping peacefully in her stroller beside me. This is completely unnecessary, Cassandra said immediately, flipping her long blonde hair over her shoulder. You're overreacting as usual. Overreacting? I repeated calmly. You turned one of the most intimate moments of my life into a spectator sport. I was helping you celebrate. Some people would be grateful for the attention. I'm not some people. I made it very clear I didn't want anyone there. Cassandra stirred her latte absently. The photos got amazing engagement, you know. You should be thanking me. For what? Violating my privacy? Disrespecting my wishes? Monetizing my childbirth without my consent? Oh, please, she rolled her eyes. Nobody cares about your privacy that much. It's not like you're a celebrity. I don't have to be a celebrity to deserve basic respect, Cassandra. Mark arrived and sat next to me, looking between us tensely. Finally, Cassandra sighed dramatically. Mark, tell your wife she's being ridiculous. This whole legal thing is so embarrassing. Actually, Cass, Mark said slowly, I agree with Willa. What you did crossed every possible line. Cassandra's eyes widened. You're taking her side? I'm your sister. And Willa's my wife, the mother of my child. You disregarded her explicit wishes during one of the most vulnerable moments of her life. It wasn't that serious, Cassandra insisted. Everyone shares birth stories now. Not everyone invites 40 people to someone else's medical procedure, I countered. Not everyone live streams a childbirth against the mother's will. The live stream only had a few hundred viewers, she muttered. Mark nearly choked on his coffee. A live stream? You said it was just photos. It was mostly photos, Cassandra defended. The live stream was just for my premium followers. I pulled out my phone and slid it across the table. My lawyer found this. You've made over $12,000 from subscription content featuring my labor and delivery. Cassandra's face flushed. That's my business income. You have no right. No, you had no right, I interrupted. That's my body, my medical procedure, my child. You profited from exploiting all three without consent. What do you want from me? Cassandra snapped. An apology? Fine, I'm sorry you can't appreciate what I did for you. That's not an apology, Mark said. I want all content removed, I stated clearly. I want a public apology acknowledging what you did was wrong, and I want all profits donated to the hospital's maternity ward privacy initiative. Cassandra laughed sharply. That's ridiculous. I worked hard for those followers. Those weren't your moments to share, Mark said firmly. If you don't comply, I continued calmly, we'll pursue legal action for invasion of privacy, unauthorized recording in a medical facility, and commercial exploitation. You wouldn't dare. Cassandra's voice wavered slightly. Try me, I replied, meeting her gaze steadily. Your brother might have let you get away with overstepping boundaries our entire relationship, but those days are over. Cassandra stood abruptly, her chair scraping loudly. I was trying to make your boring life special. Nobody would even care about your baby if it wasn't for me. She grabbed her purse and stormed toward the door, turning back briefly. This is so typical of you, Willa. Always the victim. I try to do something nice and you threaten to sue me? As she pushed through the door, she knocked over a waitress carrying a tray of drinks. Rather than help, Cassandra simply shouted, "Watch where you're going!" before storming out. The entire cafe had witnessed her outburst. Well, Mark said quietly, that went about as expected. 6 months later, I sat in the courthouse waiting area, bouncing Emma on my knee. Our lawyer, Melissa, reviewed her notes one last time. The judge has reviewed all the evidence, she said. Cassandra's refusal to remove the content despite multiple requests works in our favor. Mark nodded, his jaw tense. I never thought it would come to this. Neither did I admitted. I gave her every opportunity to make it right. Riley arrived with Dr. Reynolds, both dressed formally for their testimonies. How are you holding up? Riley asked, sitting beside me. Nervous, but certain, I replied. This isn't just about me anymore. It's about every mother's right to privacy. The bailiff called us into the courtroom. Cassandra sat at the defendant's table, looking both indignant and nervous. When she saw us, she attempted a smile at Mark, completely ignoring me. The proceedings moved quickly. Our lawyer presented the evidence methodically. Screenshots of Cassandra's social media posts, financial records showing her profits, witness testimonies about my explicit refusal of consent, and medical privacy violations. When it was Cassandra's turn to speak, she played the victim masterfully. I was just trying to celebrate my niece's birth, she said, her voice trembling perfectly. In our family, we've always shared everything. I had no idea Willa would react this way. Miss Peterson, the judge interrupted. Did you seek permission before inviting guests to witness the plaintiff's labor? Well, no, but... And did you continue posting content after receiving cease and desist notices? Cassandra shifted uncomfortably. I have a responsibility to my followers. When the judge delivered her ruling, I felt no triumph, only vindication. Cassandra was ordered to remove all content, issue a public apology, pay damages, and surrender all profits from content featuring my childbirth. Outside the courtroom, Cassandra approached us, her eyes red. Are you happy now? She demanded. You've humiliated me publicly. My brand partnerships are canceling contracts. This was never about humiliating you, I said evenly. It was about respecting boundaries. I'm your family, she protested. We're supposed to forgive each other. Family doesn't exploit each other for profit, Mark replied. You had multiple chances to make this right. I said I was sorry, Cassandra insisted. No, I corrected her. You said you were sorry I couldn't appreciate what you did. That's not an apology, that's a justification. Riley stepped forward with Emma in her arms. The irony is that if you'd respected Willa's wishes from the beginning, you would still be a part of Emma's life. Cassandra reached for Emma, but I stepped between them. That privilege is earned through trust, which you've broken completely. So what now? She demanded. I'm just cut off from my niece forever? That's entirely up to you, I replied. When you can genuinely understand why your actions were wrong, we can discuss rebuilding some form of relationship. Until then, we need space. As we walked away, Cassandra called after us. This isn't fair. I deserve another chance. I didn't turn back. Instead, I looked at Emma's peaceful face and then to the friends and family who had supported us through this ordeal. You know, I said to Riley as we exited the courthouse, I used to worry that standing up for myself would cost me relationships. Now I realize that the relationships worth keeping are the ones that respect your boundaries in the first place. Mark put his arm around me. I'm sorry it took me too long to see what was happening. What matters is that you did, I replied. And that Emma will grow up knowing her boundaries matter. Dr. Reynolds smiled. Your case is already making waves in medical privacy discussions. Several hospitals are strengthening their policies because of you. I looked back at the courthouse steps where Cassandra stood alone, frantically typing on her phone, probably crafting a social media post to spin the situation in her favor. Have you ever noticed how people who constantly share everything online are often hiding who they truly are? I mused. I wonder if anyone actually knows the real Cassandra. What would you do if someone violated your privacy during your most vulnerable moment? Would you have pursued legal action or handled it differently?